Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back with another recording of Hearthstone. Today is July 20th and we are already on the European account. Sorry if I'm a little distracted there. Somebody texted me. I'm gonna have to read that later. I need to play a bunch of spells. I need to play a bunch of minions. So, for the most part, we're going to switch between Murloc Paladin for minions that are cheap, and I guess Tempo Mage. And we might as well play on ranked because getting ranked wins. If you get up to 500, we'll make a gold character for my European account. Not likely to happen. More likely I would burn out of this game. However, on my main account, I'm pretty close to it, to getting some of them gold, but not all of them. Isaac H., your rule about no talking about Star Wars is oddly specific. Let me explain the clickbait. I haven't done that in a while. The thing is, what I do on my streams is I go to the trending page on YouTube and I take whatever is the newest, hottest topic that I see, as long as it's not talking about something horrible like a terrorist attack or something like that. As long as it's somewhat fun and light, I take whatever that latest trending title and topic is, and I basically clickbait because that's what YouTube wants. That's what the algorithm has been programmed to do, and it's literally shown to me in the analytics to have worked. Job's done. So I don't want to lie to people, so I tell them I'm going to be playing Hearthstone, I'm going to be talking about video game news, and I'm not going to be talking about this subject that is trending right now. And honestly, I could talk about the Clone Wars cartoon that has been renewed all through Disney's streaming service, but like, I hear the Clone War cartoon is really good. I watched bits and pieces of the episodes on Netflix, and it looked like a really long series that I probably would have trouble watching all of it, but it actually did look like it was a really good thing. But next Monday when I stream again, it'll say Hearthstone and video game news and no talk about something else. And so that is the clickbait there. It is, I guess, anti-clickbait. I'm telling you the truth. I'm just putting in key phrases to see if it gets anybody to actually watch. And it's worked. Like, very rarely, like, I'm not sure even once has anybody ever come to my live streams and said, "Oh man, I thought you were talking about this," and then gotten on the chat or commented or even thumbs down the videos. So I don't know. I wish YouTube's algorithm worked differently. I wish I could play cleaner and not do sneaky, ridiculous things like this, but man, I'm just trying to survive here with YouTube. I'm just trying to get back to that 1,000 subscriptions so that I can get the few pennies in ad revenue I used to get. I used to get maybe as much as $2 a week in ad revenue with about 200 subscribers. I'm now over 250 subscribers, which is nice, certainly. But they moved the goalpost, and you have to have 1,000 subscribers to be monetized. When it used to be, you had to have, I think, 100 or no number at all. For my over 250 subscribers, I have plenty of watch time and decent amounts of fans. Certainly, a lot of my pre-recorded footage still doesn't get watched. A lot of my videos only have like 1 or 2 views on them. However, the plan on my channel was always to do pre-recorded footage and then have that footage catch people's attention as my channel grew. So if somebody subscribes to my channel and likes it now, they've got over 6,000 videos they can filter through. Not that I expect anybody to watch all 6,000 of them. You've got a nice selection there. Anyways, I really don't have time to talk about my channel. Gamma Citra has an article, How Jams Became Levels in the Co-op Bullet Hell musical Just Shapes and Beats. This is basically an advertisement for this game Just Shapes and Beats, which, although it looks like it might be a slightly interesting musical game, it's also just some very basic colored shapes, and that's kind of it. And so it lacks in a visual appeal, honestly. Yeah, I don't think I'd want to play this game. That's where something like Beat Saber is a much better offer, because Beat Saber, in its isolation of having no music whatsoever, if that was the case with Beat Saber and it had no songs whatsoever, Beat Saber would still look like a pretty decent VR game. But the music certainly adds a lot to it. Whereas Just Shapes and Beats looks like a horrible game, and adding music to it only does so much. Next game we have on Steam is called Todd Stein, which seems like a black and white Atari looking game, it's basically just Flappy Bird. That's all it is. Too many Flappy Bird clones coming out, which is an interesting insight on how long it has taken some programmers to rip off Flappy Bird, a game from like 2 or 3 years ago. Todd Stein is 40% off for 59 cents, which I believe is the minimum amount you can charge for a game on Steam, without at some point making it free. The way I think it goes is, I wouldn't imagine if it's something along the lines of Steam charges you 30 cents on every sale out of that 59 cents, and then something close to 30% or 33% on top of the 30 cents. So I wouldn't be surprised if this creator, if he gets any sales at all, would only be getting 20 cents or so per sale. This game has only one achievement. This might be in the vein of a genre of games designed to let you bump up the number of games that you've 100%ed. That's your achievement score and all of that. And Steam doesn't really matter, but people still seem obsessed about it. So, next game we have on Steam is QRTH-PYH. Alright, no, it's QRTH-PHYL. Quarth Physical. And it's labeled an indie on the tag system.
What to do?
And its thumbnail looks colorful. Remember, I just need to play spells right now. Although getting wins would also be appreciated. So, you're in a colorful cube world with 3D shapes, which is something more. Seems like there's a yellow snake worm-like creature that might be the player, or might be an enemy, or might be an extension of the player's arms. How is this? It's an arcade documentary of maze-snake mechanics with changing dimensions and axis locks. Is this a movie or is this a game? They're saying this is a documentary, but it's being sold as a game for $4.99. Let's see. Like, the first review says, the issue I take with this game is the description written on the store's page is misleading. Also, I think the core gameplay is a bit subpar considering the plethora of awesome arcade score chasers out there. Not recommended. Half an hour of gameplay on record. And I could certainly believe that too. It seems like it's a misleading description. It seems like it's attempting to sell itself as something that it's not. So yeah. And by the way, it has a horrible name. A horrible name for a game. If I'm struggling to say what it is. Let's see. Isaac H says, you're one of the first people to actually pronounce my name right. I don't know how you would pronounce that wrong. Like Izach? Like that sounds really ridiculous, but maybe other people in other languages mispronounce it. Yeah, I don't even know how you'd pronounce that wrongly. You're actually about the third or fourth person to say that too. Over my 4+ years of streaming on YouTube, I've run into people that go, "You're the first person to actually pronounce my name right." I'm like, there must be a lot of people out there that get their names mispronounced.
Let the hunt begin.
Maybe it's because I just have a lot of experience with creative names in video games and such that I can, in my mind, recognize a creative name in the first place and at least attempt to pronounce it right. There is also one fan who I horribly mispronounced his name and misread it, but I eventually corrected myself. Moving on, Gamatsu has an article, SNK Heroines Tag Team Frenzy has now a features trailer, basically. Gamatsu certainly loves, like the Japanese video game development, really loves to trickle out little bits of information about their games. So let's watch this trailer. I believe this is the trailer that's gonna sort of explain why SNK Tag Team Heroines exists. This is so it's the King of Fighters female characters, and they get all put together and they end up fighting each other. Tag Team Frenzy has both some good things I've seen about it and some bad things about it, and depending on what your opinion of scantily clad anime girls fighting each other is, there's some neutral things about it. The main thing as a fighting game is that when they start punching each other, there's a massive amount of very colorful sparkles that comes off each attack, and it just completely obscures the enemy when you hit them with these sparkly things. But otherwise it looks like a standard pretty good fighting game with the tag team opportunities and kind of a finishing move ability that they're calling dream attacks that you can do. The trailer is showing off. This game is all about putting the characters in scantily clad, silly outfits. I just saw like one outfit where the girl was dressed up as a cowboy with a fake mustache, and it has like a whole customization system. And yes, it's got the standard photo mode that Japanese people love to have too. This game has run into some complaints by Western video game media for sexualizing the female characters, but that's what this game is. This is a 100% cheesecake game. If they try to tone down anything, it's just going to lose the audience in the West that actually wants to play the game, because that's what it's being sold on. SNK Tag Team Heroes comes out September 7th in North America and Europe. It's for the PS4 and Switch. It's probably coming to PC too. I doubt it's coming to Xbox because I bet SNK doesn't care about the Xbox yet. That may change pretty quickly. The number of characters you can play as, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 characters. That's a pretty good roster, and they name each of the characters, so I guess if you were into the SNK universe, you probably know these characters. This is the equivalent if they made a specific game with just all the female characters from Mortal Kombat, or all the female characters from Street Fighter. And at least you could argue this is in the same genre of gameplay compared to like Dead or Alive's beach volleyball summer games. Those are in a different genre. Maybe the DOA games would be better received and better quality if they did something like this. And Tag Team Frenzy is also kind of a spiritual successor to a very popular game that was out much earlier. So I imagine it will sell pretty well. I bet it won't sell amazingly well though. It won't outsell like Street Fighter V or the latest Mortal Kombat, but it probably will sell enough to make back their money. Moving on, Gamasutra has an article. NetEase has picked up a minority stake in the Somerville developer Jumpship. This is a financial article, so I pretty much just want to resolve to only read the titles of financial articles. Like, just I don't think there's a lot more to say here. NetEase is the indie studio co-founded by the former Playdead CEO Dino Patti and film animator Chris Olsen. Playdead, I believe, was the game that made Limbo, and they made another game after Limbo. I can't think of the name. I haven't played that new game. I just want to, though. Of course, the list of games I want to play is easy to see and very long because it's just 1,000+ games wishlisted on my Steam charts. And there are some non-Steam games that I kind of have small ambitions to want to play. Moving on, Gematsu has an article. The Barbarian real-time strategy Crush Your Enemies is coming to Switch on August 2nd via the eShop. Crush Your Enemies first launched on PC, Mac, Linux, iOS, and Android in July 2016. So the Switch is getting more of these old indie games, and that's great. That's real good. Publisher Adult Swim Games has released a game called Pool Panic. We saw this. I don't know if this was an E3 announcement. Basically, it is a crazy combo of, like, I don't know what you really can call it. It's billiards pool as the original idea, but the billiard balls have feet and they look like they just walk around, maybe on their own control. And then there's several different scenarios where you're trying to do different things with a billiard ball. And there seems to be like a top-down overworld map. Let's see, it's tagged as an adventure, action, funny sports game. Pool Panic is crazy looking, as you might expect from an Adult Swim's published game. It's 32 achievements, $14.99, and that's kinda it. Like, it's a game I need to wishlist and maybe look at, unless a lot of people come out and review it and give it bad reviews. It has like 9 user reviews right now, and it came out just today. We'll see. It is also probably one of the games that sites like Giant Bomb will just cover, and so although I'm learning to not really trust Giant Bomb and other sites like that as my single source of reviewing games, I'm still using them as a source for those things, and this would be one of those instances. We have Lemon Lover on the chat. He says Rydo, and then he says, Isaac, don't question the rules. He's just joking, of course. I follow a couple of Facebook groups on my private Facebook that are video game oriented Facebook groups, and very often I see posts where it's like, delete this if this isn't allowed in the rules or something, and I'm thinking, rule number 1 for any rule should be read the rules. It is the unspoken rule. Like, ignorance is no excuse. So if somebody is going to put in their post, delete this because I didn't read the rules, you should probably delete their post immediately. I'm not sure how much longer I'm actually going to stay in those groups, however, because honestly speaking, I don't know if I'm getting anything from it. It seems like in the Facebook groups I'm following, nobody's really talking about video games. Every now and then I get general vibes of we're into Fortnite, we're into Pokemon Go, but that's kind of it. Usually it's just memes on top of memes on top of memes, people who are posting things to start fights, and just kind of unuseful things. And inherently, I think video gamers don't get on forums and don't talk. I think they play video games. And if I could somehow listen to video gamers on video games chatting to each other, I probably would get more of a cultural touchstone about what they're talking about than following Facebook groups or looking on Twitter or anything like that.
Job's done.
So yeah, I don't know how much usefulness that is. Isaac says now I'm gonna question them more. And it seems like Nightbot is actually working for the first time in a whole while. We have a game on Steam called Out of the Box, which is tagged as an indie casual adventure with sexual content and gore. The animation style is unique. I can't immediately call it terrible. It feels like it's definitely a Western style of animation. It kind of web comic-y style. Is that what Western animation is web comics? Looks like it's a point-and-click adventure game. I'm a sucker for point-and-click adventure games. The art style here is kind of harsh. Like, all the characters look rather sharp and extreme. Almost kind of like Family Guy. Yeah, I could see this animation style being turned into a Family Guy style cartoon. Out of the box is 20% off for $11.99. Let's see, dive into a wild story of gangsters and criminals in Out of the Box, a captivating thriller where you decide the fate of peculiar customers of a luxurious nightclubs in a never-ending race against the clock. So yeah, I'll keep that in the wish list, see if that turns out to be a good game. Isaac is now playing with Nightbot and doing some of the Easter eggs, and he did the asterisk high sound Easter egg that says, "Hello Isaac, I'm watching you," from Nightbot, and he goes, "That's creepy." Lemon Lover posts his emoji of a lemon, staying true to his name. You have to applaud somebody who sticks to a bit. We've got a game on Steam called Super Volley Blast, early access. It looks like it's a volleyball game set in Rio de Janeiro with kids that they kind of have a unique way in which they're drawn. It's kind of like a cardboard flat cutout style. I assume it's kids and not adults that are just really short. It feels like that cartoon with the Spanish-speaking girl and her monkey friend Swiper. What's the name of that cartoon? Like that kid's cartoon. The animation style looks a little bit like that. I can't think of the name of it. And apparently you can play as Spider-Man and the Hulk, or characters can be drawn to look like Spider-Man and the Hulk. Interesting. But Super Volley Blast doesn't look awful by any means. Let's see. 25 Steam achievements, $7.99 with no discount. Let's see. If this game has single player, I'll keep an eye on it. It says it has single player. So I'll keep an eye on this and see if this is a very well done, tricky type game, or maybe it actually is something that would be worth playing. The other game made by this developer, by the way, is called Spy Chameleon RGB Agent, and it's rated positively, very positively. So that's another thing to focus on. Alright, let's see. Not getting through any of the news very fast. We need to play spells, so we stick with Tempo Mage. So yeah, I'll keep an eye on that wishlist. Frankly, at a certain point, I think I'm going to have to get to the point where I'm looking at my Steam wishlist once a week at least, and going back and saying, show me all the negatively reviewed games. Let's go back and remove those, because I am asking people to friend me on Steam and gift me games off my wish list. If if that starts happening a lot, then I very possibly could wishlist something that's just total garbage, and then I'd feel obliged to cover it, and then I might get this snowball effect of people trolling me or just accidentally giving me a ton of terrible games, and I don't want to become like Jim Sterling kind of became, where he was just known for railing against the low quality of games on Steam. Isaac's still playing with the Easter eggs on Nightbot. We've got a game on Steam that looks like it's a Western visual novel. I guess at this point that's what I'm going to call them, Western animation style visual novels. It's called Because We're Happy, and then Mon Bloom und Blurus Act 1. So this might be not that Western. Let's see what languages it's in. It says it's just in English. But the characters seem to be set somewhere in the middle of Europe, maybe during World War II. The animation style I'm seeing is very soft. I think probably to its detriment. Just a lack of lines and dark shading. And I'm seeing like one drawing of the character that seems like it just had its brightness turned up way too bright. It's not something that couldn't be fixed. I would say this artist does have skill. They just need to learn some techniques. Unfortunately, as somebody who isn't an artist and really shouldn't criticize them, it sometimes feels like artists miss core concepts in their upbringing. They just don't understand it, or they don't get it at all. Because We're Here, the game Because We're Here, is 15% off for $5.09, but it's Act 1, and inherently that is a problem. Also, it's a visual novel, so I don't think it's something I could ever play. Until I can figure out some way that visual novels read their text out loud in something slightly better than a robotic voice. Like, if I could somehow get a screen reader that would automatically read the subtitles for every video game, doing optical character recognition, and then putting it through like a Google voice or an Alexa voice engine to make it sound somewhat human, that would be amazingly good, but no such software exists. On the other hand, I'd say Because We're Here is probably a good pick if you want to play visual novels that aren't full of underage looking anime girls. This one still looks like it's a romance visual novel too. There's slight differences there, certainly. Not every visual novel is romance oriented. Isaac said, "What's really scary is how I know these Easter eggs exist." Well,
I wonder.
I think there's some default ones that, or that other streamers have used, or ones that people that have just become the de facto standard. But most of the Easter eggs I made were just things I was thinking up and suggestions, and I spent a day on it when I could have been doing recording, and I probably should have been doing recording, but it was certainly fun. And in the time since then, no, I haven't really thought of anything more to do with Nightbot. It's pretty good for what it does, but that's kind of it. They haven't added any new features or anything to it, which is a shame. We've got a game on Steam called Radius, R-A-D-I-I-S. It looks like it is some kind of hexagonal tile-based strategy game. You build buildings only, and placing your buildings lets you conquest other lands. So it's kind of like a chess type game, it seems. You know, the presentation on this game Radius is actually pretty superb, and for that one reason alone, I'm willing to wishlist it. This could be a game that's actually incredibly frustrating or boring to play, certainly, but I want to keep an eye on it and see if it gets some good reviews. It's got 33 achievements, 25% off for $11.24. I'm not sure I'd actually pay that much. And yeah, I'll wishlist it and see if there's more reviews out there that no. Isaac asks Lemon Lover, what's so good about lemons? ? We'll have to have Lemon Lover. We'll have to respond to that if he wants to.
What to do? What to do?
Rock Paper Shotgun has an article. Bethesda's Todd Howard isn't keen to remaster Morrowind. I don't think we need to go any further past that title. There were several things that came out around Bethesda, like it's not likely to let another company do like a new Fallout New Vegas style game, or game in the Bethesda universes. Since Bethesda is succeeding in making money, they're going to try and keep all of that in-house to the extreme that they are also willing to not create games that probably would sell. There's an argument about not flooding their market, but I don't think Bethesda is on good firm ground about flooding the market, considering they sell Skyrim on every single platform available.
Cleanse the sun well.
So what I imagine is going to happen is that they'll just keep on making games at their own pace, and maybe lose some money that they could have made had they subcontracted out a new Fallout game. Honestly, there is a good argument that they should be subcontracting out Fallout after Fallout 4 didn't work. Instead of releasing Fallout 76, you could have pushed the blame. You could have said, well, since Fallout 4 did so well, even though it really didn't, you could spin it that way. It says, since Fallout 4 is now out, we're going to allow there to be a New Vegas 2. And by doing that, instead of making Fallout 76 in-house, what they can do is they could cancel, or like just not actually make Fallout New Vegas 2, but buy themselves some time. Or they could make Fallout New Vegas 2 come all the way out, and if it doesn't sell well, they can say, well, that's not our fault, that's this company that we licensed it to. And if it sells really well, they can go, well, then that's our, that was a smart move on our part. By doubling down after having made Fallout 4 and it not really doing a great job. By doubling down on the in-house team, the in-house team is now very much under the gun of criticism. So if Fallout 76 fails, then you've got two Fallout games that failed, and you're almost certainly going to get the response that Fallouts are just going on the back burner for a while. We've got a game on Steam called Detective Case and the Clown Bot in the Express Killer. Now this is interesting. It's a point-and-click adventure game, but it's really, really pixely graphics for a game that says it's brand new. It's like really, really pixely. As an art style, it's not great. It's almost like squiggle vision. Like somebody squiggled while drawing the lines, and then those drawn lines got scanned into a pixel sprite and not cleaned up at all. It feels like it's an attempt to have a artistic style when you really don't.
None will survive.
And let's see, this is the second game that has been released by this developer, with the first game being Detective Case in the Clown Bot in the murder in the Hotel Lisbon. So there have been two of this series out in 2 days. That's definitely flooding the market on Steam of your product. Not even testing your product to see if it will sell. This one is 10% off for $13.49, and just seeing their business practices and how they're flooding the market and combining that with the fact that the graphics look rather poor, even though I am a sucker for point-and-click adventures, this is one I think I can skip. And if it turns out to be a really, really good game, I'll just have to have somebody else tell me that. Somebody else will have to come back and report to me that that's the case. Next game we have on Steam is called Guts and Glory. It's mostly positive at 75% in the past 30 days. There's some weirdness on these reviews, and I'm not sure if it is because people are taking their games off of Steam and then putting them back on so that it looks like they're brand new, or if the games are coming out of early access, because this game says its release date was July 19th, and yet it has 718 user reviews over its lifetime, 81% are positive. So how can that be?
What to do? What to
well,
do?
Guts and Glory, regardless of what it is, looks like it's a physics jokey game where you're driving cars and bicycles and SUVs, and you're running around crashing into things, and when you crash you get little bits of blood and gore. It's being published by Tiny Build, which has a name behind it, certainly. Let's see what else has Tiny Build published. Hello Neighbor. That's why this would have any name. Although, oddly, Tiny Build has published several other things that really don't seem like they caught any traction.
I wonder.
Sorry, I just have to say, Guts and Glory just looks like an asset flip. It really does. It doesn't look like a real game. They're asking $14.99 for it. I can't even wishlist it. I'm not sure I even really want to play Hello Neighbor, honestly. Like, it feels like a game that I assume is now in a finished state that I would play like once, and that's it. And sure, if I had it in early access and it was really popular on YouTube, I might play it for views, but generally speaking, I don't play games just trying to get views. That doesn't really work, and it's too expensive an attempt. Next game we have is a game called To Hell with Hell. It's an early access gore indie action early access game. Interesting. Early access tag twice. I'm not sure if they misspelled access or something. What is it really though? Looks like it's a top-down dual stick shooter with maybe some magic abilities, fighting things. The graphics not amazingly sharp for what they are. And it really, if I'm gonna play a top-down magic game, why am I not playing Diablo? See, I'll watch the video. Or why am I not playing something like Enter the Gungeon, which that's basically all this game is.
Job's done.
Yeah, top-down twin stick bullet hell shooter game. Doesn't really catch my attention. Early access, 20% off for $13.59.
Crack me up.
Let's see. It's from the developers that made the game The Surge, which I don't think that went off too well. In a weird way, for this brief moment, it feels like a lot of the developers of indie games that for a brief second had a lot of coverage and were getting some good player bases have now all fallen apart because everybody's moved on to Fortnite, and the fancy looking games like The Surge fall under their own ambition for being too expensive and just not getting enough sales.
As the witch commands.
Meanwhile, the people who go for moderate or limited artistic styles instead of hyper-realistic 3D artistic styles and limited length games seem to succeed more often. Let's see, Lemon Lover came back. Isaac, please don't question the lemons either. Let me ask you one thing. Have you ever tried a lemon? Next game we have on Steam is called Endless Fables 3 Dark Moor. It's a hidden object game. A name like that, you can almost guess that. This is not from our friends Big Fish Games that release about one game a week that's a hidden object game. Usually their games have collector's edition at the end. However, it is 20% off for $11.99, so it is still rather expensive. These hidden object games, they come out very expensively. They certainly have a markup on them. Let's see.
We must cleanse the Sunwell.
Next game we have on Steam is, as for that hidden object game, I've gotten to the point where I'm not even putting hidden object games in my wish list at this level. I will basically start buying hidden object games once I'm back in the mood to play some, and I've played all the ones I already have, which I assume I still have some. Next game on Steam we have is an early access game called Mercs, M-E-R-C-S. It says it's an early access strategy indie and early access again, so apparently somebody has doubled the early access tags on Steam. And how long have we been going at this point? So we've got about 9 more minutes. Isaac said, yes, and there was an accident. The lemon died. I don't know what I'm going to do here. We may have to get to the point, since we're now done, we may have to get to the point where we're just, let's see if I have any friend requests, where I just cover news and I leave a lot of the games that came out off for Monday, because this is, the daily quests are a little too easy, frankly. Alright, what is Mercs? Mercs is, looks like you're playing kind of an isometric view shooter game. It seems like it might be, you take a turn, you aim, and you fire. Kind of like a 3D twist on Worms World Party. Or the Worms series in general. Let me watch the trailer just to see if I understand this. Yeah. So it's almost like an XCOM style of gameplay. Let's see. Do I want to play 6 combo cards or do I want to win a victory? We can play 6 combo cards. I can do that, yeah. Just come over here and play this. I could make the argument certainly that the characters are Unity assets in this game, Mercs, but I do want to keep an eye on it. It seems like it could be something. It could also be very repetitive. They're asking $1.99 right now. So yeah, it kind of looks like maybe it's a mobile game. It kind of looks like it might be a puzzle game. I'm just gonna keep an eye on it though. I wanna see. I'm being kind of generous to it. I wanna see what happens with it. Next game we have on Steam is called Mystery House Secret Stealth. It says it's an action adventure RPG indie simulation game.
Job's done.
And it looks like it is kind of an asset flip game. It's one of these walk around a spooky place and there's like, I don't even know if you call this an asset flip as much as it's just a spooky horror, very low effort horror games. That's why I like to use the phrase very low effort. Seems like you have a gun in this one, which is slightly unusual. Maybe it's a taser. But even having a taser is something. Actually, it's kind of surprising there aren't more games out there where you play with a taser instead of a gun. Yeah, Mystery House Secret Stealth is $2.99. I don't see anything visually that interests me on it. The other game by this developer is called World of War Battlegrounds, so clearly it's just trying to make a Battlegrounds looking named game.
This guy's
one combo. Wasn't ready for that. PC Gamer has an article. World of Warcraft's 8.0 patch is kind of a mess right now. Updated. Let's see. So in the update, a lot of things are changed in World of Warcraft 8.0. I really don't care about World of Warcraft enough to go further into this article though, so take that for whatever you want that to mean.
This guy's toast.
And this.
This guy's toast.
Let's see. Isaac said the lemon ended up in many pieces. Lemon Lover says first you question Rydo's rules, strike number 1, then you question lemon strike number 2. What happens at 3 strikes? Asks Isaac. And then Lemon Lover puts 5 lemon emojis. Yeah, 4 lemon emojis.
So many.
There are 4 lemons. To misquote a Star Trek episode. Next Generation episode. Oh, that was one of the things I got on Prime Day. Prime Day, in general, terrible deals. Terrible deals. But one of the good ones was Star Trek The Next Generation in Blu-ray. And so now I've been waiting for that to be at a reasonable price. So I caught that. Your Gamer has an article. PUBG pulls the controversial Japanese mask design apologizes. Will hold the person in charge responsible. There's a great way to back an employee without having a hate mob come after them. Is just say we'll hold them responsible, which is, I mean, thinking of it literally, that's right. You should hold people responsible for what they did do, but I think in this instance, this is just them trying to not have to fire an employee that they probably want to keep. The items: a pilot's helmet, available in the game's mobile version, bore the Japanese Rising Sun flag, a reference to the country's Imperial Army and its World War II military aggression. It's a flag seen to be offensive by many Korean and Chinese people. BBC News and BZIT reported. Bluehole, the people who make PUBG, is based in Korea, and PUBG has a massive Korean and Chinese audience, which totally it makes sense why you would not want to or you would not want to offend people. And yeah, I don't think it does much good. To be slightly fair to this mask, the image I'm seeing doesn't like 100% look like that. It could have been an accident, but apparently it wasn't. This is probably an example of them just paying some subcontractor. Looking further in this article, it seems to say that it also included a reference to Unit 731, was founded in the game code, which was a real-life Japanese army division which conducted horrific, lethal human experimentation on prisoners of war of the kind more commonly associated with the German Nazi army. I guess there's no real reason to add that effort, that point there. More than 10,000 people are thought to have died in Unit 731's lab. The name Unit 731 was applied to an AI bot within the game. It will now be removed. So a bit of a stretch there. I could see somebody not immediately jumping to the conclusion and just having hundreds and hundreds of units. Anybody who purchased the helmet skin will now be refunded and told the item included a previously undetected bug, which is quite a dishonest way to describe that. Certainly. Let's see. Isaac puts an emoji of a lemon and a gun, and he says, "I'm holding a lemon hostage." And then Lemon does a strong arm lemon thumbs up emoji. And if they're gonna get into emoji chat, I have no idea what they're gonna say. PC Gamer has decided to do a food week, which is odd because I'm pretty sure it's been less than a year since the last time they did a food week. Food articles apparently have worked well for PC gamers, so they've been doing a decent amount of them. Although maybe it's just that the PC Gamer creators don't actually want to talk about video games anymore, which is also very much a possibility. They've been talking about food and board games quite a bit. But one of their articles is gamer snacks around the world. What are the international Doritos and do? That might be slightly of an interesting article as I'm scrolling down, just seeing some random food pictures. This is something Giant Bomb also got into. I'm not even sure if it was really encouraged by them. People just started sending them in random food and it took a life of its own. It was kind of fun watching them eat crazy foods. They don't even do that much, though. Like, the things that made Giant Bomb great are now few and far between. They're barely making any content. Rock Paper Shotgun has an article. Adventure Time, Pirates of the Enchiridion sets sail today. So that Adventure Time game is out. They don't really have a review for it, but I can tell you that of the 22 users that have reviewed it so far, it's positive. Sounds like there's been some bad Adventure Time games out there in the past, so hopefully this isn't one of those cases. And there we go. We've gone for another hour, and I'm on the Americas account, and I just need to play minions. They're 2 or less, and that's kind of it. But I know there's a ton of news, so I'm gonna, starting in the next recording, just try to cover the news, and then we'll see if we can go back and cover some of the games that have come out, because I really think it's going to be a case of I'm just going to have some overflow for next week. I don't really feel like doing a 4th hour just talking about games while just playing Hearthstone for no reason. If anything, I kind of would like to get back to playing Remember Me. Let's see. Isaac H says all lemons must be lost. Alright, well, stay tuned if you're watching live. Otherwise, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me, friend me on Steam, gift me a game, or direct message me on Twitter a game Steam code. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.